Hi guys, thank you so much for stopping by. My name is Kelly, also known as the Sunshine Crafter. I am one of the creative team members for Trinity Stamps, and in this video is part of Sneak Weeks, and it's featuring, this is Blooming Bunch stamp set, and I'm also going to be using the coordinating die set, and this video is featuring that stamp, and I cannot say enough things about it. I highly recommend that when you get this stamp, you get the if you get the stamp, you get the coordinating die set with it, because it cuts out all those nooks and crannies, whereas a lot of other stamp sets just cut the outline. This one does more than that. It cuts the little gaps in between, and it's really a fantastic die, and it goes so well with the stamp set. Okay, so let's get back to the card. I am using Bristol Smooth cardstock, and I'm using TomBow's, and I'm just doing some simple watercoloring. This is an Escoda travel water brush. I met Kathy Rakusin at the road trip, the coloring road trip, and when I tried this water brush, I really liked it. So it's a size 2, and it's good because it gets into the little nooks and crannies. Anyway, so I just laid some color down with TomBow markers. Now, if you use Zig markers, TomBows, or anything like that, or if you just like to do light watercoloring, I highly recommend Bristol, because it's got that smooth coating on it, and it really blends really well. It can handle a lot of water, but as far as just light watercoloring with a little bit of water, it really works well. And it's also really good for ink blending, as far as like distress inks or distress oxides. Bristol Smooth works really well. I'm a little off camera here, bear with me. There we go, straightening it out. So I also want to show you here, I use an acrylic block, and instead of doing direct to paper with my marker, I just put a little bit on there and I pick it up if I want something in between direct to paper, and so this way it's not as harsh, just adding a little bit of color. So I'm just blending that out with a little water on my acrylic block, and I'm not going to bore you with the entire image. I'm just going to speed this up, and you can see I really love the Bristol. And I also wanted to mention that I had heat embossed this with Wow clear embossing powder on top of VersaFine Onyx ink. I do that a lot when I watercolor, because it keeps the colors contained in that little border that the embossing creates, so it keeps things nice and tidy, neat and tidy. Okay, so here I'm just adding a little bit more of my color. I'm not the best watercolorist by any stretch of the imagination, but I do enjoy it, and if you do too, try using TomBow's or Arteza water brush markers or Zig markers, anything like that on Bristol Smooth. I think you'll be happy with the results, because it blends really nicely. So again, I'm not going to bore you with the entire image. I'm just showed you a little bit of it and how I colored. Now here I'm just adding a couple little speckles to give a little bit of a texture to the center of my flower. The colors I used, if you're interested, will be linked below, as well as the products and items will be linked below as well. So moving on, the next thing I'm going to do is, after I'm finished watercoloring, is I'm just going to die cut it, and then I'm going to, well, here, I just want to show you real quick. I just finished it up, added a little bit of blue, and blended it out. And I just used 2 colors of each color family, and to create a little dimension and color. Dimension and depth, that's the word I'm looking for. Okay, and then I also added a little bit of the coordinating, these are Prismacolor pencils, and I just added a little bit of pencil that is similar in color, just for a little bit more shading, a little bit more dimension, nothing crazy. I didn't go nuts. But I also wanted to show you, I use Gamsol inside a, what's the name of that pen? It's the alcohol ink blending pen. But I put Gamsol inside it, and it works fantastic. I have this geared just for Gamsol. I have another one for my alcohol ink, but this one is just strictly for Gamsol, and it blends so wonderfully on this Bristol. The pencils, it doesn't matter that I watercolored before it, it doesn't make a difference. It blends superb, perfectly. So I'm just adding a little bit of color here again, and blending it out with the Gamsol, and that's it. Real simple stuff. But look at this image. This is a stamp that I will treasure. It's one of those stamps that I'm going to be using over and over and over again. And I'm sure many of the other creative team members are going to be using it as well. You're going to see a lot of this stamp. Okay, now here for my background, I'm using Trinity Stamps Lots of Dots stencil. This is a stencil that comes in a set of 4, and it's called Lots of Dots. And this one particular stencil is like small dots to bigger dots. And I'm going to be using Nuvo Expanding Mousse in Worn Linen. This is a product that's new to me, and I am, can I just tell you, like obsessed? I am obsessed with this stuff right now. I love it. It's pretty thick in consistency, and I'm going to speed this up in a moment. It goes on pretty smooth, but it's a little thicker, and that's okay. Just got to work it a little bit. And then I'm going to be, my tool here, this is a little palette knife that I got off Amazon, and I saw an iCrafter knife, a palette knife that was identical to this, and it was expensive. It was like $15 for it. I thought that was a little much, so I found this one on Amazon for half the price, and I love it. It's adjustable. You can turn it, and the palette knife goes up and down, and the other side is a scoring tool. And yeah, it's great. I love it because you can smear with it, and you can reach into your container and get your product out nice and easy. Moving on, I'm going to heat set my expanding mousse and show you this product puffs up and it becomes like spongy. The color changes a little bit. It goes from like a sheen, a shimmer shine, to like a well, it still has a little bit of a shine, but not as much. But the texture of it is like, it's hard to explain. I want to say spongy. It's a really cool product. I'm very happy with it. And here's another one I use with a different stencil, just so you can see. I wish you could feel it in person. It's pretty cool. I'm going to be getting some other colors of it. I really, really like it. Very fond of the expanding mousse. So here you could see a little bit more of the product here. Now here I'm just trying to figure out my layout, how I wanted this to go. I didn't want the full panel covered with the embossing expanding mousse, so I just wanted it like up on an angle. And I used the Sunflower Bouquet Builder stamp for the sentiment here, the Hello Friend, Thinking of You. I used that, and I love that set because I love the sentiments and I love the flowers in that set. And I cut them down with my paper cutter, and then I took a waterproof black marker and went around the edges just to make it stand out against that white background a little bit more. And quickly here I'm going to show you, I just added foam tape to the back of my flowers, and I'm going to also put glue on them because even though the foam tape is strong, it is going to be glued to a textured background, so I want to add just some extra strength to make sure that it adheres well to the expanding mousse background. So I'm going to put that down, and I'm going to apply a acrylic block on top of it to make sure that it sticks well. So I'm just lining that up, getting that placement right, and I'm going to put an acrylic block on top just to make sure it adheres well. Then I'm just going to put a little bit of foam tape behind my sentiments here, and then I'm going to lay those out where they need to go, and that pretty much finishes my card. I considered putting maybe some gems or some type of embellishments on the card, but I decided against that. I figured there was enough going on with the flowers and the colors and the embossing, I keep saying embossing, expanding mousse in the background, that it didn't need anything else. I just left it as is. But then I thought to myself, you know, it does need one extra thing. Can you guess what that is? I figured it needed some white gel pen, you know, those little marks that you make with the gel pen that makes it look like a little bit of a highlight. So that's what I did here. I used a Jelly Roll number 10 and just added a little bit of, you know, dashes and lines to make it, that little bit of white gel pen really makes an image look much nicer, whether it's critters or flowers or any type of image. Just a little bit on the edges really makes it look a little bit more polished, a little nicer. And that is the card. That's everything. I just want to take the time to say thank you so much. And if you get a chance, please consider liking and subscribing, and check out Trinity Stamps' newest release and their Facebook page and their Instagram page for more inspiration from the other design team members. Oh, and here I pointed out that I want you to see that where the die cuts, all those little extra openings that I was talking about, you can see it here. And it really is a great die that pairs well with the stamp. So thank you again so much for stopping by. Have a great day. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Have a great day, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.